Welcome to the January 5th, 2021 episode of Reactive Consciousness. Wow, I have not messed up 2021 yet.
Yeah, so far your record is perfect.
Our in-depth podcast about what happened this week in our lives. I'm your host, vysethebold, and this is
Lotus Prince.
already better than 2020.
Yeah.
So we actually have kind of a slow week as far as news goes this week, guys.
Yeah,
but,
it's only been 2021 for 3 days. What do you want?
We haven't been here since last year. I know waiting quite a while, but no, seriously. We hope everybody had a happy New Year, and we are certainly looking better. Towards the future of this year, and hopefully it'll be a better one. But got some interesting stuff going on here with GDQ that I thought I'd give you some time to talk about here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to talk about it for long. It only just started today, the day we're recording, so Sunday. So there's been some runs so far. Of course, it is remote again, and I haven't tuned into too many runs, but there haven't been that many because these things, they're not doing the quick games. The runs are usually like 50 minutes to like 2 hours, that kind of thing. Like I recently saw a Diddy Kong Racing 100% run. That was hour 40 something. That was entertaining. There was Ori and the Will of the Wisps earlier, but I avoided that one because I haven't played the game myself and I want to.
Yeah, I kind of want that Pixar-esque emotion to wash over me when I play.
Yeah. So like I haven't seen much of the running yet, but there hasn't been that much yet. We're on day 1 and it didn't start at the beginning of the day. It was 12 noon, which it's reasonably early, but
sure,
still. So I'm just excited that it's happening.
Yeah. Well, have you seen anything interesting yet? I know it's kind of short on time, but
yeah, I mean, not really. The runs that I've seen have been cool, but I've only really seen Diddy Kong Racing, like a part of Mega Man X5, both of which were fun to watch at the parts that I was there to see them, but I have not been just watching all day. So I'll pick up the VODs, I guess.
Well, that's good. I mean, you always tell me about the interesting things that have happened, especially when it comes to things that maybe I would care about.
Yeah, I mean, they're gonna have Metal Gear Solid 4 in like something stupid, like 2 hours and 3 minutes. I want to see how the hell they do that.
It's all crawling through that radioactive chamber.
Oh, yeah, that's like 30 minutes of the 2 hours. That part was so excruciating.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. They must just be so good at sneaking around.
Well, my assumption is that the game is going to be broken. You do not beat that game in 2 hours.
Yeah. I especially with all the loading. That game has ridiculous
that has some
load times.
Vicious loading.
It probably has the worst load times of any modern game in recent memory.
Be sure to take a break from playing your game after so many hours, or whatever it said.
Yeah, and
smoking is bad for your health.
Yeah. I can't think of anything within the last 2 generations and now a 3rd generation that has worse loading times in that game specifically.
Yeah, there are lots of games that have lots of loading, but the individual loading screens were just forever.
Yeah, there was like a lot of installation and then other stuff going on with
there was
that
a
game
lot
too.
of installation.
Yeah, so
that was a
it's
problem
very
with
unique.
PS3 games in general. Like when I installed like Yakuza Dead Souls, Yakuza 4, Yakuza 5, like see you tomorrow.
Yeah, I very much doubt if that game will ever receive another port or anything like that, because it's so.
It's too bad because like every single other thing has.
Yeah, it's so specific to the PS3 that I don't know how they would pull it off. It's just one of those things.
Did you know that Blu-rays have a lot more memory than DVDs used to, so you don't need to switch discs anymore?
Power of Blu-ray.
Damn it, Annika!
But yeah, no, I mean, it's just one of those games, But anyway, so this was an interesting news item. So apparently, the Nier Automata dev team had hinted a couple years ago that there was still a secret that nobody had found.
Yeah.
And it appears as though somebody has actually found it.
Yeah, this is bananas.
Yeah, you can go into it a little bit better than I can.
Yeah, but only a little bit, because we don't yet quite know what it is. But somebody had been looking through the game's code and doing all sorts of digging that took apparently a very, very long time. And they discovered that anyone who played Nier Automata may be aware that, kind of like the original Nier, there are multiple endings, but it's not like... I mean, to a degree, like, 2 of the endings are... Is the very end of the game going to be this or this? But at the same time, endings also divide certain parts of the story. Regular Nier did that as well. Ending A was kind of the first half of the game, and ending B and C were like how you determine the second half of the game. You know, it's stuff like that. Or I might be confusing it, but like B, C, and D were all on the very, very end. So Automata does that as well. There's like an A part, there's a B part, and you're still not at the end game yet. But apparently, either just before or just after, I forgot, the ending E, which is relatively early, all things considered, there's apparently just a straight-up code that you can use to skip to the very super duper end of the game. And the person who tweeted it out said, like, this isn't a glitch I discovered, it's a code. Like, that... like, the player can enter. And apparently, like, they tagged Yoko Taro, the ultimate creator of the Drakengard Nier games, in the tweet.
The ultimate creator.
The ultimate. And Yoko Taro responded with something like the last secret has been discovered, like 3 years, 10 months, or however long it took. Like, damn. So this is not like a game's done quick run, or like, well, I went out of bounds and skipped to the end credits because I broke the game's code. Like, no, this is a thing that, like,
he found it.
You theoretically could find, like, developer intended. It makes me think of, like, the game Invisible Inc., as in INC Incorporated, where it's like a stealth game, and somebody, like, there was this one achievement on Steam that nobody knew how to unlock, and somebody, like, hacked into the game's code or whatever, or messed with config files and made it pop that way, and people got mad at them for breaking the game, but apparently that's actually how you do it. This makes me think of that, like, you're not gonna ever find this code, but you could. Yeah.
There's no way you can find it organically. You have to hunt for it. Yeah.
So that's pretty awesome. Like, I mean, I don't want to really do the code. I've already played through the whole game, and this is really... You don't want to skip the game. It's more just like a cool thing to find out, but it's pretty amusing.
Yeah, I mean, the game is played that way for a reason. I assume that it narratively and both and also I would imagine that, like, you also feel the emotional impact of what you're doing in that game specifically.
Yeah, there are definitely things where the original Nier did this too, like where when you go for another ending, you understand the significance of what you did in the previous part of the game, and you're like, oh, that's what that was, and it makes you see a lot of things in a whole different light.
Yeah, because you understand what they're saying, I think.
In the original Nier, yes. Yeah. And to a degree, Automata does that. The little dumb, dumpy robots, you could sometimes understand what they're saying. That adds a little bit, but that's not the only reason you see things differently, which is also pretty amusing. Well, it's not amusing. It's often gut-wrenching, but that's the point.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to maybe... doing that after I've beaten the game, when I get to that
just
point.
To see if you can. It was actually really funny. This one person I follow on YouTube he's done other stuff, but he's mostly known for his high-level God Hand gameplay. Just today, again, Sunday, the day we're recording this, he put up a YouTube video that it was like word for word what that Nier tweet said, but for God Hand, it's like I found a developer intended code that lets me beat God Hand for the first level. This is not a glitch. This is actually a code found in the game. And the video is just a bunch of bullshit with text below it showing you what to do, which was again just a bunch of bullshit. It's like run into this house, break the windows, then go back out, spin around 3 times, find a barrel, pick it up, throw it at the wall, and it's like hit the scaffolding, let it hit you on the head, hit this scaffolding, back out of the way that time, and then once he does a bunch of like esoteric bullshit, then it just like fades to black, and when it fades back in, it's the final cutscene when you beat the final boss. I was like, oh yeah, okay. it was very funny.
I don't even know how to react to that. Like, that's just nutty.
Well, it was funny. That was the point of the video. It was just a bunch of stupid bullshit. It's like stuff you'd read on the internet in like the late 90s, where it's like a way to get all the Pokemon or whatever. Do a bunch of weird bullshit that literally nobody believes. I don't even know why you're writing this. It was very funny.
That reminds me of like Ocarina of Time, like trying to find like Epona's saddle, like
the silver saddle. Yeah. Beat
like
the archery minigame with 100% 3 times, and then like fuck you. Like no one believes
Unlock
this.
Sonic in Super Smash Brothers before he was a thing.
Yeah, before he was actually in Super Smash Brothers. Yeah.
I
remember. Do you remember that rumor? Like a dream has been cast. Sonic confirmed, and then Sonic eventually was confirmed. That was great.
Oh man, I miss rumors, the old style of rumors and speculation where it didn't harm anybody.
my favorite though was the sinking lore in Ocarina of Time, which was actually real. Like I couldn't believe that shit.
Yeah. Wasn't it very hard to get, but like also like not that.
No, it was not very hard to get, which is kind of funny because I thought it was just a rumor. It's just if you press the A button, which is, search, or whatever button you press to search, I think it was A, just run around the kind of sandy area of the fishing pond. It's in there somewhere. Like you'll eventually just pick it up. And when you catch it makes it easier to catch fish, but when you do, the guy like invalidates your score because there's actually a sign on the pond that says like the rules, and one of them is like no cheating lures or whatever, and you're like, what? And it turns out they actually have a sinking lure in that game. I couldn't believe it. I've done it myself.
That's crazy. Well, that's certainly interesting. I know that there are all kinds of like hidden stuff that were put in there by creators in like all kinds of games. Like they only revealed like one of the tells in Punch Out, like the original NES Punch Out, only recently.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're one of.
Oh, it was like a guy in the audience or something.
Yeah. Somebody takes a picture in the audience.
Yeah, like you're never
very
gonna get
difficult to see.
Probably one of the more famous ones for me was Batman Arkham Asylum, the first one.
Oh yeah.
The developers themselves had to spoil it because it was too secret. Because there was one particular wall you could blow up that's not indicated on the map anywhere, and even if you did put the explosive gel on every wall, this is the one thing in the game that requires not one gel, so you'd have to put all 3 on it. You're never going to figure this out. But inside was a teaser for Arkham City. You could see like blueprints for designing, like not the video game, but the city, like in what would be in the sequel. It's exactly. Like, but like no one's going to figure that out. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it would have only been found by complete accident.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't have. Like, if you put 3 explosive gels on the one wall in the game that requires more than one explosive gel, you're never doing that. Rocksteady themselves have to come out and just be like, all right, guys, we put a secret in the game.
Well, moving on from that, I did want to quickly mention that the expansion, the DLC for Rolling Gunner, one of the best modern shmups probably ever made. Really, really fun modern doujin shmup that was originally just on PC, but then got a release on Switch and in the US to boot, which is fantastic. The US is finally getting the DLC expansion for that.
Nice.
On January 14th they announced it. So
I've said this before. No, sorry, but like I've said this before, probably the last time you mentioned Rolling Gunner, but every single time I see that name, I think Rolling Thunder, and I'm like, how could a game like that possibly have DLC?
No,
and why does anybody care about it anymore?
Nothing like that. It's a horizontal shmup.
Yeah, yeah,
But it's a really really good one, and also one that is fairly accessible.
yeah.
Um, so it's not like one of the cave games or like one of the Toho games that are just like so difficult to play that you might as well just like give up if you haven't been playing those types of games for a long time. So I really enjoy this one. This is up there with Crimson Clover, which is another one of my
Nice.
favorites. So I absolutely recommend this one, and the Switch version I think people consider to be better than the original PC version.
Oh,
I think
nice.
it has some graphical upgrades to it. Plus, when it comes to PC games, like Japanese companies tend to like they tend to be like on the fan made kind of side, So the developers that helped the original developer of the game to port it to Switch, amped it up a bit and added better textures, that kind of thing. I have the original version for PC, and I can certainly notice the difference. Plus, it's not sold like on a um, like a Western like digital
Sure,
service.
sure.
It's not on Steam or anything, so you basically have to buy a physical copy from Japan. So it's just not worth it. You might as well just get the Switch version. So definitely recommend that. And other shmup news, Arcade Archives Gradius 3 is finally out on Switch. That came out, I believe, this week.
And
Um,
this is partly a reminder for the listeners, but also partly a reminder for me. This is not the same thing as Super Nintendo Gradius 3.
it is the arcade version.
Okay.
So
No, I know version, but aren't they like different games?
they are the same game. It's just that the Super Nintendo is fairly pared down, but in a favorable way.
Okay.
So a lot of people actually like the SNES version better than the arcade version because the arcade version is brutal. It's
Okay.
a very 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 difficult game, and the Super Nintendo version uh, is an early Super Nintendo game. It's within the launch window, I believe, and it has a bunch of slowdown in it, which normally you probably wouldn't say that's a good thing, but in this game, it helps you.
Yeah, I remember in one particular level, which was like you had to go through some sort of maze area, and you needed that speed boost thing. Like, for
Mhm.
God's sake, otherwise that level's like unplayable.
Yeah, yeah, and there are far less enemies and bullets going on at one time in the Super Nintendo version. So, I mean, depending on, I'm the kind of guy who just loves Gradius so much that I'm just going to get this anyway. Especially considering Gradius 3 hasn't had a port since the PlayStation 2. The
Huh.
launch of the PlayStation 2, they released a dual pack with Gradius 3 and 4.
Oh,
It's
that's
been a
right. Yeah, and then 5 was its
really
own separate thing.
yeah. It's been a really long time since this game has gotten a port, so like even the novelty of it is really kind of cool. But I also kind of like comparing the two versions. There's also an SA1 upgrade for the SNES version if you want to get rid of the slowdown, and it's still considered to be a better version than the arcade version, just because there's less bullets and stuff. But it's still a really fun game. I love Gradius. It is not my favorite Gradius game by a long shot. It's probably one of my least favorites, but it's still a Gradius game, so it's better than most shmups in my opinion. So I love Gradius. So probably the worst one is 4. 4 is a lot like 3, but even more so. So
All right.
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that one gets a port because it has similar hardware too. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. But they're really starting to get more advanced Konami um, uh, emulations on the Switch, and I've been very happy about that, especially since they did Sunset Riders only a little while ago, and that was just like one of the best things they could have done. It was that has never seen an arcade perfect port or emulation since its release. So I was very happy to see that, because who wants to use MAME? As much as I love arcade games and stuff like that, I hate using MAME. It's just so obtuse, and it's just a big pain in the butt. So it's also really hard to find the games that you want to use for it in like the right versions and stuff like that. So if I can buy my favorite arcade games piecemeal, through these arcade archives collections and the like, I absolutely love it. I jump at the bit to do it. Chomp at the bit to do it. So
yeah, jump at the opportunity.
Exactly. In kind of a similar vein, there have been some announcements of a couple different soundtracks on vinyl for classic arcade games. Recently, Ship to Shore, who has in the past put out some really good stuff. They put out the first 2 Mother games on vinyl. They were pretty famous for that. They put out a lot of other Konami games and stuff like that. Let me double check the other big releases that they put out. They've also put out Gradius 1, 2, and 3.
Did they do the Silent Hill games?
I think that was Mojo.
Okay.
Mondo Tees. Yeah, that was it. It was Mondo. But they've done Konami YY World 1 and 2, which, jeez, that's obscure. Let me see here. Guacamelee. That's cool. Recently they did the Angry Video Game Nerds. They've done the games. They've done a whole bunch of soundtracks to obscure stuff. Gradius 3, which is awesome. Gradius 1 and 2, great soundtracks. Let me see what else. They have Klonoa. Look at that, the original Klonoa. Machinarium. I think you played that one, didn't you?
I dabbled with it. I don't think I really got anywhere.
Comic Zone. Wow. Comic Zone. They did the Legend of the Mystical Ninja, Goemon.
Very nice.
They did Sparkster, which is the sequel to Rocket Knight Adventures. They did Life Force. They had also did the Zuntata releases, the Taito ones, including like the Darius soundtrack. They did the Snatcher one, Lagrange Point. They've done a whole bunch of these. LSD, the Dream Emulator soundtrack. Wow. If you just want to hear like ambient music.
Yeah, weird surreal music that makes you a little uncomfortable.
Yeah, Mother 1 and 2, Cosmic Star Heroine, like a whole bunch of Celeste. Yeah, there's some good titles under their belt. So they do a really good job. They use original hardware in order to produce the soundtracks too. They don't use like an emulator or anything. So, but they announced that they are partnering with Capcom to release 8 classic soundtracks on vinyl and cassette. They did not reveal which ones, but that's a big
Ninja
deal.
Turtles.
Not on Capcom.
Oh yeah, that was still Konami.
Yeah.
Well,
Turtles in Time actually did get a vinyl release via 8-bit. Who was it?
Come on, Street Fighter 1.
Yeah, it was Turtles in Time. Vinyl. Yeah, they made it in like the shape of the pizza box.
Yeah, I remember that was clever.
Yeah.
Oh, I am 8-bit
did it. That was a phenomenal release. I would never expect that a licensed property like that would have gotten an official release, and yet here we are.
Did they also team up with Pizza Hut to make it a Pizza Hut box?
No, but it does look like the pizza box in
Sure,
Turtles in
sure.
Time, which is really neat.
Did it come with a $1 off coupon to Pizza Hut or whatever it was?
No, but I'm sure
Oh,
their IMA-Bit is flexing their Undertale vinyl money.
yeah.
They probably made a lot of money off of the Undertale
And that
soundtrack.
super, like the super editions that look really gorgeous for like Cuphead and Persona 5.
The Cuphead soundtrack. I wish I could justify purchasing that.
Yeah, I
I
pre-ordered the
can't.
CD version, so I'm waiting for that.
I can't. But like it was something like over $100. I think it was $120.
Yeah, it was probably similar with Persona because it's just like 3 or 4 vinyls.
Yeah, they also put out that Res coffee table book with and vinyl that I have.
Yeah, that I actually did get for the book.
Yeah, no,
Just it incidentally comes with the vinyl.
that was an excellent purchase on my part. But yeah, the ones that I don't agree with that they put out are like they do reproductions of like SNES games that like are extremely common and charge like a bunch of money for it. So
Oh
like
yeah, Mega Man X and Street Fighter
Mega Man
2.
X is $100. Like get out of here.
Yeah,
You could
nobody's
find
doing that. It costs less to buy the real game.
you could buy the real game and have more fun with it for
The
that
real
price.
game is like probably like $40 if it's card only.
Yeah, they did it for Disney games too. They did it for like Lion King and
Yeah, those games
Aladdin,
cost nothing,
and those games are like practically worthless
and they
because
were
they sold
re-released
so
on
well.
modern platforms anyway. Like, do you
Yeah,
really want to buy the SNES version specifically that badly?
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, they have the Battletoads soundtracks though. That's pretty sweet.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. But yeah, they put out some good stuff too. But I'm only guessing what Capcom soundtracks, and I have a feeling that it's at least going to be one of the Street Fighter 2 versions. I think that's undoubted. I hope there's some Mega Man soundtracks in there, at least Mega Man 2.
Well, nah, you know what my
Mega
guess
Man 1.
is?
What's that?
Here's my guess. We'll skip Street Fighter 1, right?
Yeah.
I think we could
Why?
safely do
Who
that.
wants that?
We're going to have 3 versions of Street Fighter 2, all 3 versions of Street Fighter 3, Street Fighter 4, and Street Fighter 5. That's 8.
How many versions of Street Fighter 4 though?
Yeah, what are there, 2 versions or something?
There's a whole bunch. There's just like with all the different updates that I got. There's like the arcade version. And
Whatever, it's fine.
Other stuff. Yeah, but it has all the same music. They just added stuff.
Yeah.
But Street Fighter 2 has a ton of different versions and like a bunch of different hardware that it's been on because it started off as like on a CPS1 board, and then the last version of it in the arcade was on the CPS2 board, so it has completely different hardware. It was a Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo is the last arcade version of 2. So yeah, and then they have like the hyper versions and
Now, you know what we're going to do?
Ultra.
Secret Underdog, like stealth release, Genesis version of Street Fighter 2.
With the bad voice samples and stuff. Ugh.
I don't know what you're talking about. It's perfect.
Ugh. Or maybe even the PC Engine version, which like nobody will play that version over any of the other ones, even though it's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's just doesn't. It's not the same, It's not better than playing the Super Nintendo version. That's for sure. I bet you'll have at least a Mega Man game in there. Hopefully, Mega Man 2, because that's the most famous Mega Man like soundtrack of the classic era.
I would hope for Mega Man like X, 2, or 3.
Yeah, probably X1 has
Yeah, X1's the most obvious one, but I think I prefer 2 and 3.
Yeah, I really like them a lot.
And 5, honestly, like well, 4 and 5 as well have just like incredible soundtracks. 6 probably does too, but I'm not remembering it quite so well right now.
I kind of shat myself because I was on Twitter and I reacted to their post about that Ship to Shore, and I said it better all 8 of them better be Gunsmoke or I'll be very upset. And they liked my tweet, so I don't know if that's a hint.
Yeah, yeah, those companies release weird stuff. They might release Gunsmoke. You never know.
They have Lagrange Point, which is like one of the most obscure like NES games. It's a Konami game, but it's a obscure because it's Japan only and has like a very esoteric sound chip that like only that game used.
Wait,
So like,
what company did Clash at Demon Head?
I don't even know that one.
I was trying to think of like weird stuff that like, maybe they'll do that. I'm gonna look that one up right now.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Oh, it was released by Vic Tokai, so never mind.
There have been a lot of really interesting classic video game vinyls lately. Like like some random company did Devil Crash and Alien Crush.
That's right. Yeah,
which have phenomenal soundtracks, by the way. But like, did not expect some random ass company to get the rights to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Let alone like with fun art and stuff on it, unique art. So I'm really interested in that. And I've never heard of this record company, but there was another vinyl announcement. Wayo Records announced that they are releasing the soundtrack for ActRaiser on CD and vinyl. So that's really, really cool. That is a Yuzo Koshiro soundtrack. He didn't make very many
you know
Nintendo
what?
ones.
I have heard of Wayo Records. That like I don't think they release terribly often, but I've purchased from them once with a CD. They did I think they did the Skies of Arcadia soundtrack.
Oh, I missed out on that. I think I need to get that.
They also did like a music box. If you're into music boxes, those things are hard to come by and pretty expensive, but they're freaking cool.
They're Data Discs makes really good ones too. They make all the Sega ones, like a lot of different Sega ones.
Skies of Arcadia. That might still be available.
That's Wayo. Yeah.
Yeah, it's still available.
Yeah, I'm taking a look at it right now. It's for €60. That's
60.
why it's so expensive.
Yeah, there you go. But
that's
yeah,
why
they
I
did
didn't buy
Sonic Forces, which actually has a pretty sweet soundtrack.
Oh, most of the Sonic games, even the bad ones, have good soundtracks.
You know what's funny though is I forgot if his name was Infinite or Infinity, but the villain of the game, his theme is like hilarious. Like the music's amazing, but the lyrics are like teenager edgy. It's very funny. There's Metal Slug 3, Samurai Showdown, the new one, I think. Grandia Memorial soundtrack.
Oh, cool.
ActRaiser. So yeah, they don't have a lot of vinyls, but they seem to have made some pretty like interesting choices.
Yeah,
and as far as
ActRaiser
CDs and tapes, they have more going on with that. They have this drove me insane. They have Streets of Rage 1 and 2 perfect soundtrack tape. Although Streets of Rage 2 CD,
Data Discs it puts out the other puts them out on vinyl. That's why.
I might actually want to go for Streets of Rage 2 CD. I didn't realize they had a CD for that.
I would
like what a soundtrack.
I would very much want the ActRaiser one just because I'm a Yuzo Koshiro.
Yeah, Yuzo Koshiro is freaking great.
And that one in
they
particular
have one as well. They have Streets of Rage 1. Okay.
Yeah, the ActRaiser has a really good soundtrack, and he didn't make very many Super Nintendo soundtracks. He only made that and Super Adventure Island. I think that's it.
And I mean, this obviously isn't Super Nintendo, but he also contributed to I think a Castlevania PSP game.
Oh well, yeah. But let me double check that. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he's mostly known for his Sega affiliated soundtracks.
Streets of Rage and Revenge of Shinobi stuff. Yeah.
And he did the Game Gear Super or Sega Master System version of Sonic the Hedgehog. Look at that.
Oh, what?
Star Wars Attack on the Death Star, which is an X68000 game. I think.
Yeah. He did not do Shinobi 3, by the way. That was somebody else. Like I made a similar mistake with Final Fantasy
really
Mystic.
Good.
It is very good. But yeah, I made a similar mistake with Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. I was like, oh, Nobuo Uematsu's done every single Final Fantasy game, but like not that one.
Yeah, no, he did ActRaiser 2. I guess I should have expected that. But
No, you already said ActRaiser.
Yeah, but ActRaiser 2.
You know what that reminds me of? Have you ever heard of the Deathstalker movies?
I didn't know about Robotrack. What was that?
You ever heard of the Deathstalker movies? They're like not Conan.
Oh yeah, I think I have heard
like
of those.
Deathstalker 2 was more lighthearted and comedic in nature, and it title drops like right before it actually shows the title of the movie in like one of my favorite ways, where the villain is like, I'm going to kill that princess and Deathstalker 2. I was like, yes! It's the greatest. It's too good.
That's so stupid.
It's very dumb.
Well, moving on from that, we actually have a release date for Binding of Isaac Repentance.
Yeah, I've been hearing about that game for like, 2 years, and it's never going to get released, but now we finally have a date.
Yeah, March 31st of this year, so...
I am excited and apprehensive.
Yeah, well, the thing is, like, you have such a well-built, like, base of, like, completing these games.
I know, I thought I was out. The achievement I got literally said you can stop now.
Well... yeah, so let's see how far this goes in becoming the final expansion, because he said that a few times.
Let's bring Old Man Stompy back on the podcast and just dominate like 20 minutes of each episode with our Binding of Isaac talk.
I mean,
and you're just gonna sit there like, yeah, that sounds cool.
I miss having Old Man Stompy on, so I would not be opposed to having him on in any capacity.
We could only talk about Binding of Isaac or wrestling.
Maybe we could convince him to come on and talk about both of those things. I would be very, very happy if that happened. But yeah, I mean, this is great. I mean, I have not played basically any of Binding of Isaac just because it's never stuck for me. I've played plenty of games. I've
seen you dabble a little bit with it. Like, you were more into Gungeon.
Yeah, I love Gungeon, and even that I didn't like completely beat. I just beat it with one character, and that's not. By the way, you know what?
I platinumed the game, and I still didn't completely complete it because you could always buy out the store and everything. I think Perry actually did that. He's a freaking madman.
Yeah, Perry like 100%ed Enter the Gungeon. So
he actually 100%ed it.
Yeah, which is insane. But that's basically like the only game he played for like 2 years. That and Cuphead. He played Cuphead.
I didn't know he played Cuphead. I know he was getting super into Hollow Knight, and I think he fell off at one
Hollow
point.
Knight too.
But I didn't know he was doing Cuphead. Yeah, I did. I similarly did not 100% Cuphead, meaning I did not S rank everything on hard mode, but I did platinum the game. So I got, there's a trophy for getting an S rank. I that's good enough for me.
Gotcha.
It was hard enough getting an A rank on everything. It was such a nightmare. It's like, now get an A rank when it's harder. Nah.
Well, I want to also take a moment, since that was basically it for most of our news. So I wanted to have a bit of time to talk about some of the stuff that we have been exploring, since the holidays and all that stuff. But I have been playing more Yakuza Like a Dragon, and I have to say that I
fun times, man.
Officially into playing it.
Yeah, so it's not my favorite Yakuza game, but it's very, very good.
I'm really, really enjoying it. I have gotten to the first area. Essentially, there's a lot of story, so there's a lot of story. Yeah, takes a while.
Well, so what does the first area mean? Because the first area is like you play it for like 10 minutes and then you're out.
Yeah, I mean we're in the homeless area.
Yeah, so the ultimate, like, the world you're in, like the town, like Ichijo, that's like 95% of the game.
Gotcha.
Like there's gonna be other areas, but you basically show up just to like go to this location for a dungeon plus boss fight. Like, you could always go to the restaurants and do like the arena or the dungeon or whatever, but like you don't have to do anything in those towns except for like that one thing. Ichijo is where like the real game is.
I find it so hilarious that the game even refers to like its dungeon areas as dungeons because they are clearly like real world like places.
Well, yeah, it's
Um,
great because like I mean we've talked about this before, but the main character Ichiban is like a Dragon Quest nerd, and he envisions things that way. Like, I mean, you've gotten into fights, right? Like,
yeah.
have you gotten the job system yet? That's
No, I
early-ish.
haven't. I have just gotten my second party member.
Okay,
Um,
yes. Well, yeah, he joins real quick, because like when you get into fights, well, even if you don't have the job system, when you get into fights, you notice how they're just dudes walking around the street. But when you get into a fight with them, they like transform into like exaggerated versions of themselves.
yeah, sure, sure.
That's your character's imagination. Like they're an enemy that I must vanquish. Like that's the
So funny.
justification for why things in the game work the way they do. It's
He's
pretty
such a
great.
nerd.
Yeah.
It's so funny. I love his character. It's amazing.
His character's great.
I really love Ichiban.
Oh, so you have the smartphone now then, right?
I have the smartphone, and I've also I stuck around today and really wanted to make sure that I perfected the can collecting minigame. So I did that. Um,
Oh, yeah, that's a I mean, at your point in the game, getting money is really a bitch. So
yeah,
like any amount of money you can get is like, do I spend 10,000 yen on this thing I need, or do I hold off and it's like actually a legitimate decision? There will come a point in the game where
you can make
you could
decent
just
amount
get
of money.
money.
Yeah.
But right now it really sucks.
Yeah, as of right now, what I did was I got an S ranking on all of the different levels of the can collecting
Oh,
game,
very nice. Yeah, that's
and
pretty fun too.
I like it. It's basically Pac-Man, but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it really kind of is, isn't it? Because you get the dots.
Yeah, well, not only that, but you also get like the energy drink, which allows you to attack
You get
the,
to
the
hit the other
rivals.
guys who normally are the ones who hit you. And if you time that right, and if you start getting good routes and learning where to pick up the piles from, you can really rack up a score.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun. I had a tough time getting an S ranking on the hardest one, but when I did, I like blew it through the water.
You know what's funny is I
Blew
actually
through it.
had an easier
Blew
time
it
with
up.
the harder missions because they gave you more time to work with. Just
Uh,
don't get hit by anybody ever. But I actually had more trouble with like the easier difficulties.
yeah. That in the easier difficulties, you actually have to attack the rivals. So
What's
like that.
great is if you can line them up. It's not like
Yeah.
they kind of go where they want to go, but if you can combo them, you it's just like Pac-Man. You do get like a bonus for each subsequent guy you hit.
Yeah, in the hardest mode, I got a really nice bonus for getting all three of them at once.
Yeah, very
So
nice.
I was very happy about that. Plus, I had the trash girl who was going around and
Yeah, you just
dropping.
chase her dropping stuff. It's so weird.
It's so funny. I loved it. I of course got the highest ranking for can collecting while I was doing that. So
Oh, just
um,
across the whole process when you slowly build the bar.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, those eco points can be pretty useful if you like. This is gonna sound stupid, but if you want to buy bugs, because you could sometimes find them in the park, but
Yeah,
are
aren't
they
they
going to be the
used
ones you
for
want?
crafting?
Yeah, like it's like you need 5 cockroaches. Fucking really? So like it's good to spend the eco points at the can quest because I have real trouble finding them in the park. If you go to the northeastern part of the map, which by the way I do not recommend that you do at this point because you're gonna get your ass kicked. But if
Yeah,
you do go there, there's a lot of bugs.
I actually came into contact. I've just been exploring before advancing the story,
Oh,
and
speaking of exploring, oh go ahead, go ahead.
I found like parts of the city where they're like, you probably shouldn't be going here at this
Yeah,
point because
yeah.
they beat my ass. But
What's nice is you can look at the map and see where the enemies are, because not all
yeah,
Yakuza games afford you that luxury. But one thing I will point out, though, regarding exploring, if you ever see a taxi, interact with it. Don't even use it. Just talk to the guy and then back off or whatever, because that'll put it on your phone for
oh,
when you use a taxi. Where do you want to go? Like that stop will be unlocked.
I see.
So just chat them up. It's really great for your phone because you could use your phone as a taxi thing, but the cost of it I think the regular cost is like 780 yen, and if you use your phone, it's 1100 yen, which there will come a point where that's nothing at all. But for you, it's actually kind of significant. But I will say the other places you can go to, the other cities, the taxis are just there. It's fine. But for Ichijo, you should interact with the taxis to
I will
make the game acknowledge that you found them.
I'll do that. I've gotten to the point where I went to the first major mission there, which is to help out the ladies at the bar.
Yeah, okay.
So that I haven't advanced the story past that.
And that's going to be Yakuza in a nutshell, by the way. You're going to hit the next story beat and then spend hours doing side stuff and then finally advance the next story beat. Like, you'll notice with each passing chapter, sub-stories unlock. You could see them. They look like little text bubbles on your map.
Yeah.
You're going to want to hit those up.
I got a side mission. I'm supposed to be looking for a guy who's peeing in the river.
Oh yeah,
I need to find that guy.
You gotta pick him out in a lineup.
Yeah.
It's so stupid.
I haven't found him yet, so I've been searching for him while I've been rooting around the city.
Just check your map for blue text bubbles, because that's like the next step of the sub story.
Oh, is that what that is? Okay.
Yeah, so that'll do it.
Okay, cool.
Oh, by the way, and sub stories, only a couple, maybe 2 or 3. Like, you can't finish until nighttime, or you can't finish until daytime, so you might just not have a way of advancing them.
Probably that's a nighttime one, I would imagine.
I think it is. So, so you're just not going to be able to advance it until you advance the story. Whatever. It's fine. And by the way, don't worry about missing stuff. Like, if you just keep missing something, if you just don't go for a sub-story this time, and you advance the chapter, many Yakuza games, including this one, have at the very end of the game, like the final chapter, you'll be able to toggle day or night as you please.
Gotcha. I figure they wouldn't like this day and age, they wouldn't have like a missable.
Yeah, like Yakuza 2, PS2. Boy, could you miss stuff. Or at least fail to complete certain sub stories. Like, sorry, that was your chance, you fucked it up.
Yeah, I wouldn't want
to.
I would really expect most games by now to not have that kind of mechanic.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, you know what's kind of funny, by the way? Because I've beaten the game now, and I'm trying to grind away at the post game dungeon. But there are 2 post game dungeons. There's like a harder one, which it's like identical to the regular post game dungeon, except every encounter is like level 99, so it's super scary. When I first managed to beat the first post-game dungeon, I was like high 60s or low 70s or something with my level. So I wanted to like get a taste of the post dungeon. So I ran in because I was like, well, if there are much harder battles, I'm not beating it. But like every floor, they give you an out. Like, do you want to leave? If you come back in, you'll have to start all the way at the beginning. But do you want to leave now and just take your winnings? So I figured this will be a great opportunity to start grinding on enemies, because like I'll get a lot more experience from a level 99 guy than a level like 63 guy. So like the first encounter in the dungeon is 2 dudes that only attack physically, and in the regular post-game dungeon, if I don't block, if I just take the full hit, it's like 70 damage. And I was like, all right, let's try the post-game dungeon. And I got hit for 1100 damage and was instantly killed. And I'm like, all right, I'll level up some more, I guess. So I haven't been back since, and I'm level like 91 right now.
I'm looking forward to moving forward in this game. I mean, I collected enough ego points in order to get some like upgrades for my charisma and other attributes. So
that stuff's pretty good. Yeah, there comes a point where you have just a ton of ego points, so it's fine. There'll be, I mean, you'll eventually.
I'm wondering if there are any unique items through that can guy that I should really be saving up for.
Soundtrack CDs, if you're interested in that kind of thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
If you go to the bar and you want to listen to a particular track from a particular Sega game, but you will find that there's a vocational school where you could take tests to give yourself stat boosts, and also you're going to unlock a feature in the phone that keeps track of things you can do, like defeat 100 guys to upgrade stats. And yes, the stuff you're doing right now counts. When you unlock the game keeping track of this, it'll be like, all right, well, now that you know that we know, let's see what you've done, and it's just like boom, 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 like upgrades, upgrades, upgrades. Like, oh my god, it's pretty nice.
Yeah, I'm really really enjoying this game. I haven't like I was playing Final Fantasy VII Remake, and I unfortunately just got distracted and stopped playing that. So I will go back to it eventually. Plus, it's it's not that long, so I could go back to it. But this game like really got my attention. I just love the style of it. I love the wackiness.
Yeah, that's Yakuza in a nutshell. The story is like super serious, and everything else is fucking dumb. It's great.
I love the main character too. There hasn't been like a main character like this off the wall in a long time in a game that I've played. So
yeah, especially in Yakuza, where you play as Mr. No Emotion for like 7 prior games.
It's in fact it's very funny anytime he does show any emotion. It's kind of like Batman or Punisher having emotion. It's just like, what's going on here?
Well, Kiryu's only emotion is like passion when fighting, or like sorrow at a friend of his being killed. It's like, how could you do this? And he gets righteously like indignant. But Ichiban is just brash.
He's very stoic, but I love when Kiryu like has so much passion when he's like doing something goofy like an arcade game or something.
Oh
like
that. Yeah, like let's go, and like he straddles the hang-on motorcycle in the arcade. Great.
That's just really really funny to me. The first time I saw that when I played Yakuza 0, I laughed really hard.
Yes, same goes with like Outrun, like boom, like in the car, like
yeah,
right.
that was it specifically. I think was an Outrun. But yeah, I really have enjoyed playing what I've been playing. I mean, I intend on going back and doing Kiryu's games, but I'm really glad that I have this game to jump on. Also, I could probably just play Judgment and get that out of the way because there's nothing really.
Judgment is so good,
and it's a standalone game, so.
Yeah, it really is in its own universe.
It just has similar themes, right?
Well, I mean, it's in the Yakuza universe, but it doesn't interact with, like, oh, that's a reference to Yakuza 3. Like there is that at least that I was aware of.
Sure.
There was precisely one reference to anything Yakuza related, except for obviously like the locations that yes, they continue to exist.
Yeah, I'll probably after this one I'll go on and play Judgment, and then I'll play Yakuza 0 and try to get Kiryu's games out of the way. But
Judgment is spectacular.
I really want to play that just because I like both detective games and games like
yeah. So there you go. Yeah, you're like an ex-lawyer who's doing detective work. It's great.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. It interests me a lot more than something like LA. Something like that.
Yeah.
So,
and it's also very funny to play as this guy in Judgment when, like, certain fights before they start, he's just like, actually, you know that what you're doing is illegal, right? And he's like talking to like the Yakuza who have somebody like hostage, and they're like, whatever, man. You could clearly see she's not tied up. She could get up and leave whenever she wants. But she's not kidnapped, therefore. And he's like, no, nice try, buddy. According to Article 6. Paragraph 3, like, if she's being there against her will and compelled to stay, ropes are not accounts as kidnapping. They're like, fuck you, and you like start a fight. It's great.
Wow. Well, I also wanted to give you an opportunity to talk more about Paprium because I know you've taken a deeper dive. I am still waiting for my copy. I don't.
Yeah,
know.
there are some people who are still waiting for theirs. I'm assuming it's holiday mail thing, and I lucked out. I don't know.
Well, I also you also know that mine is coming with the joystick, so
that's true. I keep forgetting that.
Yeah. So
that's a whole other thing.
I'm really tied to it may just be like it's such a big thing that or maybe even like it really. Maybe they produced a shipping label but didn't actually ship it because they didn't have like all the parts to make that, something like that. I don't even know whether it was something like that because even though that's bad practice, I could see easily how that could have happened. So I did send them an email, but I'm sure they're
okay.
I'm sure they're like
Yeah, they're probably swimming in emails right now.
swamped. I'm sure there are plenty of people that are still asking for refunds and things like that now that they've like reappeared. But
Yeah.
like they really and probably shipping problems just because like
Yeah.
who lives in the same place like 4 years ago? Most people,
Yep.
I mean, maybe most people will be there, but a fair number of them would have moved. I've been to 2 different residences since then, like maybe
Yep.
3. So I'm in my permanent residence as of now, but still, I'm really chomping at the bit to play it. My biggest hang up about it though is I know that it doesn't work with the Mega SG.
Yeah,
So
that's frustrating.
it's really disappointed. It's really disappointing too. So you would think that the Mega SG would be accurate enough that that's not an issue, but apparently it isn't.
Yeah.
Um, and they may have even made it a situation in which, uh, like some people were saying that maybe even the guys that were putting it together may have even done that on purpose, just so they can limit the piracy of the game and stuff like that. But like,
But it'd be kind of hard to pirate. It's a special cartridge.
well, I think they have been saying that maybe they haven't. They didn't. They used off the shelf parts. They didn't like they claimed that they were using something unique, but they weren't. So I think it's only a matter of time before it gets dumped. Not that I
Well, it
want that to
certainly
happen.
does perform better than a standard Genesis game, though. It's smooth and the sound quality is amazing.
Oh yeah, but I think the point of contention is that they didn't invent a chip for that
Okay.
game. They used one that they could buy, from a place that had chips,
Gotcha.
which is a different thing. It's not it's a lie in that regard, but it's not a lie in saying that it's certainly more technologically advanced than anything that would have come back in like '93 or
Yeah,
anything
yeah.
like that. Obviously. So we talked about how big the game is in comparison to like the biggest Genesis games, and it's gigantic. So I'll give you the floor in order to talk a little bit more about it.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I've been playing it, and there is still more new stuff that I found, which is freaking crazy. Like, there are different routes you can unlock. I've talked
I
about
heard
that
there
already.
are unlockable characters too.
Yeah, that's actually what I was going to get to this time around. Now, the unfortunate thing is that I think to get the true ending, you must unlock them, which doesn't sound like a big deal. But
You have to play the game a lot, I think.
no, you can play the game once to unlock both characters, actually, if you know what the route is. But to get to the final boss area, I got to the final boss area without the characters, and it was like the bad ending. But I think like I don't think this was just me because one other person I saw mentioned in a forum. There's no game facts for this because this game's new and
Yeah.
not common. But like I think it just locks you from going back into original mode, which is basically adventure mode, once you hit the bad end. So you'd have to do like another file, which is kind of frustrating. But to get to some of these new routes, usually when you play enough, you get to a point where it goes, do you want to go up or down? And you can make your choice. But there are 2 that I found secret routes where before you advance, like before you scroll the screen, but once you clear the enemies, before you actually move on, you can bust open a door or like unlock a thing, and that takes you to an area you were not expected to go necessarily, and that's where you could fight a particular boss, and they go, whoa, thanks for saving me. Do you want me to join you? Yes or no? And you say yes, and those are the secret characters, which is pretty cool. You can get both of them in a single playthrough if you know the right route. But what I find really clever, in addition to all this, is that, speaking of the routes, if you're playing from the regular path and you choose to go the lower way, not the upper way, you could from there go lower still or up, and then you could go back up. But meanwhile, you could also take an upper route originally and go down and reach the same area from there. You could do a roundabout way of getting to a higher place by like summoning a shuttle once you beat this one guy who teaches you how to hack platforms, and then you could take that area down instead of up. Like, it's freaking amazing how interconnected the routes are in this game. And I've mentioned this before, once you get to the end of a route and you beat a boss, you can claim a throne there, which means that should another character come that way, the boss will not be there. Your character will be there, and they'll be like, I have a mission I want you to do. And it looks like each of the 3 areas you can throne have 3 missions, or has 3 missions. The first one is beat up a bunch of dudes. Okay, whatever. I don't know what the other missions are. I would like to find out. I want to see whatever the hell the true ending is, because this game is so good so far. Also, one thing I thought was kind of funny is there are 3 levels of difficulty, 1, 2, or 3 stars. There's nothing that's called normal. There's easy, hard, and very hard. If you try scrolling past very hard, you just hear like no good. If you try scrolling past easy, like looking for a very easy mode, I guess, like there's a voice for all the difficulties, like easy, hard, very hard. If you try scrolling past easy, you just hear like sissy, but like I actually went ahead and unlocked actual sissy difficulty, so there is a sissy mode, and it's 0 stars. Okay. By the way, I mentioned this to you on the phone, but I don't think on the podcast. But I had mentioned that the game, this I did mention on the podcast, it was in some way compatible with the Sega CD. It turns out that if you have the Sega CD hooked up as well, then you can actually set for yourself an AI partner if you're only playing by yourself.
That's neat.
So like that's quite novel. I think you have to plug in the controller to be able to press start to join, but if you unplug the controller, it just kind of goes. So you like on a Genesis, an AI partner to beat 'em up, like that's pretty radical. Like that doesn't happen.
Sure.
So that's pretty awesome.
Wow.
And apparently you could also unlock the ability to listen to the soundtrack. Like some of these games just had that by default. I think Streets of Rage just had it. In this you could unlock it somehow. So I'm curious as to how that's gonna work, but it's amazing how much replay value there is, and I don't mean like I beat the game. I feel like playing it again. I mean replaying it to like unlock more stuff. It's freaking nuts. So I'm very excited to advance in this.
I'm really glad that like it's a beefy game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like you don't want to pay whatever the pre-order cost was for like, well, that was a cool 30 minutes, I guess. Like there's real replay value here to truly beat the thing in the first place. Like Streets of Rage 2 is like a 40-minute game, and then you're done. And the replay value is seeing if you could beat it on hard mode, because the game's quite hard. But with Paprium, it's just like expansive, which I find quite impressive. And I've been playing on easy this entire time.
Yeah. So I imagine that you're hooking up your Genesis through like a FrameMeister or something like that.
Correct.
Yeah, I might end up breaking out my FrameMeister again, or getting a RetroTink 2X, because that might be the thing to do, because
does the OSSC take RGB?
It does, but the OSSC is difficult to use and I don't like it.
Okay. Because the FrameMeister, that was the thing about the FrameMeister, is that it's not open source and it's difficult to set your preferences, but once you have the preferences, toggle them. I want the Genesis preference this time. Boom, it's in.
FrameMeister is a lot easier to use, so I have them both, but I think probably the best thing for just plugging in playing is the Rad2X cable, which is really easy to use, and it's straight to HDMI.
Sure.
They make these for a whole bunch of different systems. You can also get it like a standalone one as well, but I have one for PlayStation 1 and I have one for Saturn, and the one for Saturn is like a godsend. It's really, really good. It's probably the best thing going because it switches resolutions faster than the OSSC and the FrameMeister both.
Yeah, that's the one weakness I have with the FrameMeister is its resolution switching is pretty bad. It's like a few seconds.
Yeah, that's only really a problem on Saturn and PlayStation 1. So
and the good news is you don't have to experience it on PlayStation 1 because you could use a PlayStation 3.
Or you could get the PS1 digital, which is out now.
Yes, which I do have and need to get it installed. But man, like that and the PS2, man, oh man, am I going to be happy when the PS2 one exists. But when I get the PS1 one installed,
I just shipped mine out to Rob Dakotas.
Very nice.
Just
I
like
should do that too because I have an X station in the HDMI
yeah,
out thing.
I'm having him put both of those in along with a mount there to make it easy to put a SD card in and out.
Sure.
So I can't wait because I'm gonna have like a PS1 that's all freaking tricked out.
Yes.
I am really excited about that whenever that happens. Maybe I can also sell my my retro Tink for my PlayStation just because I don't need it anymore. But
yeah, like I'm probably most excited like after the PS1 by the proposition of like a PS2 should that come out and a Saturn HDMI thing should that come out.
The Saturn one's a lot harder.
No, I know, but like just plugging the basic video thing into it is just a pain in the ass.
Yeah,
it's just very loose connection. I mentioned this before. I thought like something was wrong with my system. Like nope, it's just
that's just the way they are.
Yeah,
but I'm actually going to link you. Even though we're on the air, I'm going to link you the Saturn Rad 2X cable because it is bar none the best option for Sega Saturns right now.
Sure,
it's really good. But yeah, I'm excited for that. And you know what? I didn't even think about this, but if I get a Rad 2X for my Genesis, I will have the ability to use my 32X again.
Nice.
I'll have to shelf my Mega SG until I can play Paprium.
Yeah, that's so unfortunate because the Mega SG was supposed to be the solution for all Genesis games.
But this is going to be like the game I'm going to be spending most of my Genesis time on for probably for a while because
who would have guessed that a beat 'em up would take this much time?
Well, not only that, but it's brand new and it's really good. I mean, like why wouldn't I spend a lot of time on it? And I spend a lot of money.
I've been streaming it and people seem to like it.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite genres. Other than shmups from that era, I don't.
Yeah.
Beat 'em ups is like my number 2.
And another thing I'm very happy about, by the way, is that the game is not like however many hours long. Like a run is the length of a standard beat 'em up. So like it's not like, oh, you have to play this game for like 7 hours for the true ending. It's like, a beat 'em up with save points. Like like no, this doesn't wear out its welcome because you could complete a run. Like you're not done with the game, but like you're like, all right, I did it. I'll come back later.
Yeah, I'm excited to play this, and I hope I don't have any problems with it because I really hope I don't after all this time that I don't they don't lose my order or something goofy happens.
Yeah.
So I'm just really hoping for it because it looks like a blast and it's a good story, on paper, just explaining to people everything that happened with this whole fiasco.
Yes.
From beginning to end. And then it has a happy ending. Well, for the most part, right? So
yeah. Well, I mean, the product they delivered is freaking great.
Exactly. And I just hope that they put it out on modern systems eventually because...
Yeah, you don't want to intentionally make this the most esoteric thing.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason not to. I mean, they put so much
you get more money
time.
If people buy it.
Yeah, they put so much time into it. Why wouldn't you want to sell it on Steam for $20 a pop? Why not? People pay for it.
Yeah. Easily.
People pay for this. I mean, I can't think of and they not only that, but they've done it in the past. This company has
Pure Solar
has put their games on other consoles. They may even do something crazy put this on Dreamcast or something like that. But at this point, I'm not buying any more post-mortem Dreamcast games because I can't play any of them because I have an ODE. So
yeah.
But yeah. Well, moving on from Paprium, I just quickly wanted to mention that I've been getting back into Mister stuff recently. That's the FPGA multi-system. And I really think you would have a blast with a Mister if you could put one together and
probably
put the time into it. What got my interest back into it is that they finally put out the CPS 1.5 or CPS dash games, which include Cadillacs and Dinosaurs and The Punisher. I've been playing like the beat 'em ups I've never really played before, or played very much of, and Hotego, who's the guy who's working on those cores, is also working on like the CPS2 stuff, which is really what I'm after. I really can't wait until I can play, Alien versus Predator almost like perfectly. But also, during Black Friday, I bought a bunch of bigger SD cards, and so I wanted to upgrade the SD card that I had in there to a much bigger one. So I have like a half a terabyte that I've been building that on, and I also was doing some searching around because there's another core that has been maturing lately, and it's the X68000 core, which is a Japan only PC that came out back in the 90s that had phenomenal games on it. It had better graphics than almost anything of its type at the time, because the graphics chip that was used in that PC standard was like the same as a lot of arcade games at the time. So it has some really cool, like it has like an arcade perfect version of Strider when Strider had just come out, basically. It has some really cool stuff, like an almost arcade perfect port of Space Harrier at a time when no other system had that. So it has like a lot of other like exclusive games on it, and the Mr. Core is maturing. So I've been like hunting down, like trying to find games for this thing is like was so difficult, just because like it's such an esoteric platform, and it's only really getting more popular because of the Mr. Core. And there's emulation before that, but very few people would dabble in that kind of thing for an obscure Japanese PC standard. But had been trying to track down like a couple games out there that were shmups, that were like Dojin games, that like the Dojin games are like so hard to find because like they're not in like trying to find them on an English website is like almost impossible. And one of the shmups that I was looking for, like its name is SEO hell. Like searching for it is ridiculous. Its name is DirectX. Can you imagine how hard that is to search for a game called DirectX?
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
So it took me forever to find it, and I finally did. It took me like 2 solid days just to find that game alone. But apparently it's really, really a good shmup. So I just wanted to get a moment to talk about it, just because I've been pouring so much time into crafting my archives for this thing. So and it is such a good platform. I love it. It is not as user friendly as something like a Mega SG or anything like that, but it like when you get down to it and you start getting used to it, it's a lot of fun. And the accuracy is phenomenal. Apparently, like the GBA accuracy is like spot on, like in terms of like timing and everything. So I can't wait to just like delve into the GBA core and all that stuff. I'm really looking forward to it. And final bit of sorrow here. Unfortunately, the rapper MF Doom has passed away this week. I just wanted to quickly mention that, considering he is tangentially related to the Gorillaz, who we talk about quite a bit. So I don't know if you remember what song he collaborated on.
I don't think so. I'm pretty bad with like the actual names of anyone in the Gorillaz anyway.
Gotcha. Well, Damon Albarn and Jamie Hewitt are the people that are the mainstays. But he did November Has Come from Demon Days.
Okay.
So one of the best songs on a fantastic album. So I really he was only like something like 49 years old. He had a lot of people.
40 something. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he was 49. His wife informed the press. They didn't give a cause of death or anything like that, so it's just kind of stinks. He's a young guy, and a lot of people really liked his unique. Um, his rapping was very intricate. A lot of people always really said he was really intricate. I need to go back and listen to more of his stuff, but I wanted to quickly mention that because there, over the years, there have been a few deaths related to the gorillas. I mean, we have Dennis Hopper, we have Ike Turner, the guy who did Que Pasa Contigo. I forget his name, but there haven't been many deaths. But surprisingly, for a band that's 20 years old at this point, over 20 years old. So it's just a shame, especially a young person losing their life, pretty earlier than a lot of other people would get a chance. So it's a shame. Anything else for the good of the order there, Lotus Prince?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay, well that is the show for this week. We want to remember. Please remember to subscribe to the Corrective Consciousness YouTube and SoundCloud pages. While there, please give us thumbs ups, likes, and 5-star ratings on iTunes. It helps promote and spread awareness of the show, and any bit of encouragement helps keep the show going. You can also catch us on Thursday for our sister podcast, Corrective Consciousness, the podcast where we explore the inanity of pop culture. We will be exploring another. We'll do another episode to explore the James Bond media franchise. Finally, you can friend me as vysethebold on pretty much anything.
And you could follow me on my YouTube channel, Lotus Prince. You can hit me up on Twitter at Lotus Prince. And finally, if you are interested in seeing my videos early, like Little Hope, which I'm currently uploading, getting in exclusive live streams, selecting upcoming games for me to Let's Play, or getting in conversations with other patrons on Discord, then perhaps consider swinging by my Patreon account, which can be found at patreon.com/LotusPrince.
Okay. Well, excellent. We will catch everybody on Thursday then.
Until next time, everyone.
Bye-bye.